Welcome to the Spanish lesson number 1. Are you trying to learn Spanish? Welcome to the lessons to learn Spanish. Spanish, as we all know or nobody knows, it's a very simple language to learn. So, let's start from lesson 1, which is pronunciation. All the letters, all the weird stuff that we have happening in the pronunciation and the writing. So let's start from the beginning. The vocals, or the vowels, sorry. I wrote it in Spanish, so you can start to get familiarized with the language. So we will say vocal. So we have, like in every single language, 5 vowels, but the pronunciation is gonna be constant in every single thing that you do in the language. It's not like English that depending on the word, the thing will change or whatever. It's always gonna be a, which is the first one, a, e, I, o, u. And that's it. There's nothing else, and no complications, nothing. That's how everything is gonna stay. A, e, I, o, u. You can practice it at home or wherever you are, because it's gonna be quite straightforward with that. And then we have all the consonants, or consonante in Spanish. So as you can see, it's the same as in English, for example, except for this letter over here, which it's gonna be an interesting extra. You will see it many times in some words, but it's very complicated. It's not very complicated, sorry, to pronounce this letter. It's like N, which will be... I will show you actually how to pronounce every single letter, right? This is gonna be B. This is gonna be C, not like the C, right? C. D, F, G, and we will see later why this is pronounced like this. G, H, J, K, L, M, N, and now you will see that this is ñ. Ñ, it's pronounced with, like, if your tongue was completely flat, and you like support it in the side of the mouth, like in both teeth lines. Ñ in the top part, like N, but Ñ. Very simple to pronounce. Then you have P, Q, R. We will see also how the mysteries behind this thing later. S, T, V, W, X. We will see Y, Y, and Z. So, let's start going deep in the stomach of Spanish. What the hell is the problem with Spanish? Why some letters are pronounced exactly the same as the other ones? So let's start with K and C, which is very simple. The sound of K can also be made by the letter C, right? But only when the letters are A, O, or U. A, O, U. Follow it. For example, K and K, it's gonna be exactly the same. Same like ko, and same like ku. Ka, ko, ku. It's gonna be exactly the same pronunciation. However, you will see that in Spanish, K is barely used. Most of the words are gonna be written with C, unless some exceptions, like a kilometer or whatever. Since the most Spanish is written with the letter C, like I said, how to make the sound for the letters E, or E, and I, or E in Spanish, right? E and E. Well, we will use the letter Q. That's why we have the letter Q in Spanish, for example. So que, the sound, would be que, like this. Q-U-E. And the same thing for ki, it's gonna be ki. So ka, ke, ki, ko, ku, with the letter C would be ka, ke, ki, ko, ku. You can see that these two are slightly different. And actually you will see this also in other letters, like G, for example, will have the same issue with the letters E and the letters I. So here we go to the next one, keeping the letter C. The letter Z, or Z if you want it, and the letter C. So the sound of Z can also be made by the letter C, but only when the letters are E and E. Right? So this will be C, like in Spanish, or C if you're in South America. I will keep it in Spanish. So C is the same as C, and thi is the same as thi. So tha, the, thi, tho, thu. Very easy. This is not very complicated. You can actually try to practice this at home when the lesson is finished, or during the lesson you can pause the video and continue to do the same thing. So, like I mentioned with the letter G and the letter J, the letter G in Spanish, G, will have a different pronunciation when followed by the letters E and the letter A. Sorry, E. E and E. To keep the sound G, a U will be added, right? Ga, ge, gi, go, gu. So these two, like with the letter C, are gonna be slightly different. And there will be some other stuff, but we will see in the future what happens with the letter G, U, E and G, U, I. So ga, ge, gi, go, gu. So when the letter, you don't add the U here, when the U is not placed there, the letter G will sound like a J in Spanish. So ja, ge, gi, jo, ju. It's very simple. Ja, ge, gi, jo, ju, ga, ge, gi, go, gu. Right? These are things that you will actually see in a lot of words, so it's gonna be very easy to remember as you are learning the language. Some more interesting facts. The letter H is not pronounced in Spanish. You will see when you say hola, the English speakers will think that you say hola, but actually it's not. It's hola. The H is not pronounced. The letter I and the letter Y, I and Y are pronounced exactly the same, which they are. Unless the letter Y goes before another vowel. In that case, it will be pronounced as an L, the double L, which will be ye, right? For example, when something is full, you will say lleno, which is double L. But you could actually, wrong written, but there will be examples much later. You could also use a Y instead of the L, and it will be pronounced exactly the same. It will be llena. Ya, ya, ya. It will sound like that. The letter B and the letter V are pronounced exactly the same. If you go to Latin America, they will pronounce it differently. The B will be B and the V will be V. B and V. It's like you're biting the lower lip for the V. But in Spain, for example, it's pronounced exactly the same. No difference whatsoever. That's why maybe some people will have difficulties in remembering how it's spelled a word if you don't know how it's spelled in Spain. However, it's kind of simple. B and V. B. That's the sound. So now we come to the most interesting part of the pronunciations in the Spanish, as it's famous for. What the hell is the problem with the letter R, right? There is a difference on pronunciation depending on where the letter R will go in the sentence or in the word in this case. If the letter R, or R, is placed at the beginning or at the end of the word, it will have a hard sound. That will be the sound, right? For example, rata, or roer, estar. This, as you can see, is a harder sound, this bouncing thing with the tongue. So if it goes at the beginning or at the end, or both, it will have a hard sound. If the letter R is placed in the middle of the word, but is followed or preceded by a consonant, it will keep the strong sound. For example, carta. You see there is the R and there is a T afterwards, which will make it sound strong again. Tragar. The R goes after the T, so the strong sound will remain. Escorpión, the same thing. The R goes before the P, that's why it will keep the hard sound. If the R is placed in the middle of the word between two vowels, it will have a soft sound. For example, era. It will not be erra, it will be era. Cara, cámara, pura. This R, maybe it's more similar to what you will hear in English, for example, right? Cámara, cámara, or cara, era. It's not the R, it's just a very soft, no bouncing of the tongue for this kind of examples where the R will go between two vowels. It will be a soft R, and that's the only case, and there is no exception for that. However, what would happen if one would want to make this R sound strongly here? If that's what you want to make, a second R will be placed. For example, perro, correa, carrera. You can see this word has a double R and then has a simple R, or a single R. So this one will be a hard or strong pronunciation R, and this one will be a soft one, carrera. So that's what there is with the R. So how to pronounce the famous R of Spanish? The tongue must be placed in the front teeth, on the upper part, behind the teeth. When you pronounce, for example, the letter D, right? D, L, or T. It's exactly in that spot where you will have to put the tongue to make the R in Spanish as well. So how to make it, how to practice it? There is a trick for that. You can pronounce these three letters as fast as you can, and you will practice this for like 1 or 2 weeks. So you can actually make your tongue get used to staying in that point with the precise or specific power required to make the tongue bounce to pronounce the R. So all you have to do is DTL, 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 DTL. And you will practice this every day. Not all day, obviously. People will think you're crazy. However, that's how you make the R possible in Spanish if you don't know how to do it, or if your language, for example, doesn't have this, right? So practice this, and within 1 or 2 weeks, you should be able to make the R sound. And basically, that will be all for lesson 1, as we already saw what the alphabet looks like, how to pronounce the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, how to pronounce the other letters, how to pronounce the different things that you will see in different words like the letters G and C, and what the hell is going wrong with the letter R, right? So keep practicing the DTL, and I will see you in the next lesson. If you have any questions, kindly let me know.